Hello there and welcome to VGC. My name is Chris Scullion. Recently I got the chance to try out a bit of WWE 2K24 and play some of the new modes featured therein, including the showcase mode, the ambulance mode, the expanded backstage brawl, the kind of revamped Royal Rumble mode. So I thought I'd put together this montage of footage that we captured to show you what it looks like. The audio that will be accompanying this video will be taken from the latest episode of the VGC podcast, where we spoke to Jade King from TheGamer, who also played some of the game. So me and Jade, we both spoke about the game, and the podcast was hosted by Jordan Midler, who hasn't played the game yet, but he, as another big WWE fan, wanted to know various things about it. So what you're going to hear now is the audio from the podcast, in which we talk about the game, accompanied by footage that I captured from the event. The event only let me capture 1080p footage of a PC build, so expect the Xbox Series X and the PS5 version to look better than what you see just now, but so bear in mind this has been captured from a 1080p build of the PC version. But with that said, let's get on with it.
So we played about 3-4 hours. We were kind of let loose onto the game, well, a certain build of the game, while we did interviews and all of this other stuff. But we played a build which included the ambulance match and the backstage brawl.
Nice.
And then just a few generic match types, really, with a couple of new members of the roster and so on. But yeah, it was, as you'd expect from now they're back to annual releases, it does feel iterative rather than innovative. It's we're nip and tucking, we're adding a few new match types, and we're updating the roster and all of that stuff. But given that last year's game was relatively strong for what these games are and have been for a long time, I was oh yeah, they're updating the right things, they're not overextending, and they're having fun with it. And I think when they had that break when I think it was 2K20, which was absolute dog, and then they took a year off.
Yeah, it was absolute dog.
Yeah, that's what they called it in person while I was over there. But they realised that these games don't need to be complicated or realistic. They just need to be fun and silly and true to the sport, as it were. And yeah, I think my impressions coming away from that was it doesn't change the game or do anything especially compelling, really, but they're just improving on it gradually. The ambulance match is great. It's a good gimmick. The backstage brawl is surprisingly interactive with some of the environments you play around with. There's an elevator I could just throw Seth Rollins in, run up to the top, and then just chuck him off the banister, which was 20 feet, so he should be dead.
Yeah.
But it's ridiculous.
Is it the same backstage area from last year's game? Do we know, or have they changed it up? Or is it the same kind of structure? Yeah.
It's the same one, but they've added to it. So they've added a lift. Before you to go up the ladder and take them up the ladder, if you wanted to throw them into that big weird fan thing, there's now a lift just behind that you can go into, an elevator for any Americans listening. So you could theoretically put someone on their arse on the floor level, then go up in the lift and jump on them if you were quick enough, theoretically. But by and large, it's a similar area. There's new kind of breakable glass in some places.
Yeah.
You can throw weapons.
Oh, no.
Oh, it's so good.
It's so fun.
It's
it feels
it just locks on.
It feels like it did back in, is it No Mercy that it had the weapon throwing back in the day? It feels a lot like that. You can stand and just the accuracy is incredible. I was only playing the CPU, so I couldn't tell how easy it is to dodge that or block it or even grab it.
I hope it tracks you.
It's going to be interesting to see how annoying that becomes. Yeah, I think it does. But hopefully there's a button you can press to just kind of grab it out there, because that would be even better.
Oh, that would be pretty.
That'd be amazing.
Like that clip of Hitman when he threw a hammer and the guy walks around the corner and the hammer just follows him round. That's how I want.
I deliberately got a shovel, ran up to the entranceway, and left someone at the other side of the ring, and I just chucked it, and it almost had a mind of its own. Just twatted them with the head, and I thought, if this is a bug, they need to keep it in, because it's pretty good.
I saw a thing saying there's a free camera now. Is that true?
There is, yeah. If you're in the Royal Rumble, because I didn't enter first, you can essentially just get a free cam and zoom around the arena and the wrestlers, which is ridiculous, but if you can disable the UI and stuff, that could be good for photo mode shenanigans, because the crowds look like arse in this game, but the big wrestlers and stuff, it's on par with the NBA 2K games. Like, it's really impressive.
Chris, how'd you find it?
I liked it. Like Jade says, it's very much. I was surprised Ric Flair wasn't in this build because it is very much an evolution. Evolution is it?
That joke didn't woo me personally.
Oh, good. That's all right. He says that, doesn't he? I thought it was quite good. I'm happy with it. I'm very much a fan of 2K23. So again, I was hoping they didn't. You know what these games are like. You're always going to get an online community, many of whom are probably going to be listening to this or watching the subsequent video I'm going to make. 2K, you're always going to have a community saying, fix the game is terrible, and then not really explaining why. So there will always be haters when 2K24 comes out, but if it's anything like what I played, I probably won't be one of them. I've enjoyed what I played. But I thought the ambulance match, even though at its core the ambulance match is pretty basic, I just got a kick out of something different for once. Being able to literally powerbomb a guy into the ambulance, and then it's basically a case of you close the doors and it's 2 button bashing mini games to close one door and then the other door, and that's it. That's how you win. So in that sense, it's pretty basic. It's not any different really from a submission match, except that the processing, it's starting the button bashing is just more complicated. But just stuff like being able to throw people, you can both climb to the top of the ambulance and you can throw someone off the ambulance, which I thought was quite interesting. The ambulance is like comically large, like larger than ambulances probably should be. It's like the sort of ambulance you would send to, like, if there's a crush at a festival.
It's one of those like Rose Ed ambulances, like from a WWE event. You need to be able to see it.
One of those ambulances that can take like 30 people.
Well.
Yeah, exactly. So that's in because there's casket matches. We didn't get to try that in our build. The showcase was in there. Did you get the showcase mode, Jade?
Yeah, I
3
played
matches.
I think I played Charlotte Flair versus Rhea Ripley and Cody Rhodes versus Roman Reigns from last year's WrestleMania, where he lost. And I think Showcase is really cool in regards to like a production standpoint. Like, it's very like lavishly produced documentaries, and it's cool the way it blends real life footage with the game. But I also think it kind of pigeonholes you as a wrestling game, because it's like, do these very specific things or we'll punish you for it or you won't get anything, which that's still there and it sucks, but it's cool. As like a wrestling fan, it's fun to revisit those stories and see WWE pay them the respect that you think they should, instead of just like treating everything as a joke. But that seems largely unchanged, except this year it's doing 40 years of WrestleMania, so it's just going to span across 4 decades. Yeah,
because the 3 matches in it were the 2 you said, Rhea and Charlotte, Cody and Roman, and then like the Ultimate Warrior versus Rick Rude from WrestleMania 5, which was quite weird. But because you always play as the winner, you have to be Rick Rude. And be up the Warrior, which I thought was quite interesting. But yeah, Jay's right. It's very much the same as it has been in other years. It's like, do this move, then this move, then this move, until it triggers a cutscene, and then it does that slingshot tech they've started perfecting, where it switches to live action for a wee bit. Although this time Corey Graves is commentating over it. So it's not just kind of a blank, like just sitting watching like random footage. Corey Graves comes in and says he tried to attack her with a clothesline, but this happened. Like, okay, thanks, Corey. I've got eyes, mate. But yeah, it's one of those moves you'll play. It's one of those modes you'll play through at once to unlock all the unlockables, and then probably never touch it again. But it's a nice wee kind of memory lane situation for the 5 or 6 hours it'll probably take to get through it. But yeah, it was nice. I'm just generally happy with it. I'd like to see more of the wrestlers like this, because I don't know if it was just the particular PC build I was playing. I think some of them looked a wee bit off. The sweat was really they're really sweaty now for some reason. I don't know if that affects it. There's just absolutely those arenas can get quite temperate. But I don't know if that was one of the reasons. But I don't know. Just some of the likenesses looked a tiny wee bit off, and I'd like to have it sitting side by side with 2K23 so I can see if it's not just in my head, or if they actually genuinely have changed to quite a degree. But so far so good. I think I'm curious to see what my faction's the one I want to see more of, because my faction is my favourite and also most hated mode in 2K23, because the amount of, it's not even nickel and diamond, it's like $30 and $40 in you.
Paper.
Paper
and
it's just a
credit
card
card.
game, isn't it?
It's incredible the price of that mode. So I want to see how they handle that, because so far the idea is sound, but they've handled the microtransactions horribly, even for 2K. So I'm curious to see that in the final build. But so far I'm happy with how it plays. At least they've not messed about with it too much.
Here's a question though, for both of you. If you're going to do a 40 years of WrestleMania match mode, bear in mind who they have the rights to. What are the must-have matches? Because when I think of the must-have WrestleMania match, they literally cannot do it because they don't have the Hardys and they don't have Edge and Christian. So it's a bit strange.
Shawn Michaels versus The Undertaker.
Well, yeah,
like 25.
yeah, that's two of them knocked out.
You've got to have. Sorry,
not being able to do those ladder matches is a big one.
Yeah.
Those are so iconic.
You've got to have the gimmick battle royale.
Oh yeah, going to go license all of those guys.
The one that the Iron Sheik won, because he literally didn't have the knees to go over the top ropes. It's like you can do that one.
John Cena versus the Big Show. That would be a good show.
You won't get him. Paul White's in AEW.
Oh, he's in AEW. Yeah.
He's currently on the
God,
Jade
you're right.
Cruise.
They're all locked, so we couldn't see what they were putting in. So it's going to be interesting.
Like no Jericho, so you don't get any of those matches.
No Jericho.
No Vince McMahon, if there's any justice.
Yeah, they probably had him and went, "Oh,
I know,
fuck."
quick, patch him out. You'll just get a character just called Da Boss.
It's like
a
when they
generic
did
looking guy.
It's like when they did the Stone Cold Shawn Michaels match the year they didn't have Tyson's likeness, so it was just some random Asian man in a DX
I
t-shirt
remember
pretending
that.
to be Mike Tyson. They just called him the Enforcer. I was like,
horrendous.
come on now.
That was horrendous.
You do.
I wonder if they do a lot of modern matches.
I bet they do. I bet they pack it with modern
It
stuff.
looks like it's hard to tell in the showcase what's in it, because obviously they only give you 3 matches. But from what I can glean just by kind of looking at the menus a bit, and it seems like it's mainly a lot of modern ones. It looks like it goes, and this is guesswork because, like I said, the only matches we know for certain are the 3 we played. I'm just guessing here, but it looks like it might be a few from the first 5 years. Then it skips ahead to like the middle, like the 20s, 30s, and then skips to the end. That's the impression I get, with maybe 1 or 2 in between. So
I bet you could sit.
it looks like it goes early, middle, late.
Undertaker's last match with Reigns. Well, last match.
Yeah, you could sit and work it out, because it'll be Hogan and Andre, because Hogan's in that trailer. It'll be the Bret Hart Shawn Michaels match. It'll be Bret Hart Steve Austin. It'll be Michaels Steve Austin. Then it'll get to the Attitude Era where they don't have the rights to anyone, and it'll be the weirdest matches you've ever seen. They'll pick. It'll be like It'll be I was going to say, who was it? Kane versus Raven versus who? In that
the hardcore
match where they nearly took the.
God, I'm such a.
They nearly ran over the master power cable that would have taken power out of the whole stadium.
They did.
I can't. That's the thing. Those
if they had any balls about them, they would give us Bart Gunn versus Butterbean in the brawl for all.
Come on now.
I'd be well up for that, but they won't.
The Spectre at the Feast is. He probably won't be in the main roster, but do you imagine CM Punk's DLC?
Got to be.
Yeah.
Got to be 100%. If they manage to get the Fiend in, not the Fiend, it's not Captain Howdy, is it? What was he called?
Johnny
Uncle Howdy. Captain Howdy was the Exorcist. Some Uncle Howdy.
Yeah.
That's it. Bray Wyatt's mate.
If they manage to get Uncle Howdy in, and he was pretty new when they announced the game, then they'll be able to fit CM Punk in as one of the DLC things.
Because they're doing Stardust as DLC, which is like Cody Rhodes' old persona, so they're clearly leaning on that nostalgia and stuff, which is good with the last one. Like they'll give CM Punk his own DLC.
Yeah, I imagine the night of Survivor Series, the next morning they were like, right, you 5 just go and do this now, because this is like the thing.
Make a model of Punk.
Yeah, his whole moveset's been in the games for like 15 years at this point. So
go to sleep.
My dream eventually is for them just to bring out WWE 2K, and for it just to be an ongoing game. Because there's this My Faction stuff, redoing it every year, it isn't going to work. And just every time a wrestler comes out with a new t-shirt, which they do every 20 minutes, give us it within a week. And even if it's like a season thing where, if you do X number of things, you unlock the shirt. Or, not that I would like this, but £2 unlocks the shirt or whatever. Like, make it a constantly evolving game. because that's the one problem with these WWE games, is that the lead times are so ridiculous that by the time a game comes out, it's already 4 months out of date. Whereas if you are updating it on like a fortnightly or a monthly basis with all the new content that has just happened in the actual show, and just make that a permanently occurring, people will buy season passes, and people will, that thing will make money like permanently. But I don't know, that seems like a long way away. It doesn't seem like 2K. I think that's the future of games, but maybe not yet. So there you go, that's a brief look at WWE 2K24. Keep an eye on VGC as the game nears its release date in March, because we'll have a full review and more detailed impressions as we get to play with the finished version of the game. Thanks for watching, I'll see you later.